good idea.
Well, I figured it's just easier to talk.
No, that's way good.
Did I hear right that we're not getting Trader Joe's here?
It's in Riverdale.
It's in Riverdale.
It is coming
Yeah.
to Riverdale.
It's-
The signs are already up.
Try by, it's the old
I
Shopco.
better drive down
Right
the
by
street.
Ashley Furniture.
Yeah.
Oh, good, yeah.
in the old
where's that
Shopco.
used to be? Now, where's this bar gonna be? I'm trying to.
Wendy's
picture that.
Sukiyaki.
Oh, there?
Wendy's Sukiyaki building, yeah, there. They resold
sold
again.
it.
Mm-hmm.
I hated that. I loved that. Wendy's.
Well, Steve.
I know. Yeah.
Guys,
The one that by the seasons is 3801. Oh, it's not him, it's his son. Yeah. How do you make this go up? No, yeah. How do you get your Doesn't it seem short?
yeah, yours does. We good? Are you good? Okay. Matt, you good? Good evening, everybody. Welcome to our South Ogden City Council meeting for Tuesday, October 7th, 2025. We excuse Councilmember Howard. His son got hurt playing football, is having knee surgery tonight, so wish them the best. Entertain a motion that we begin.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Awesome. We'll start with a moment of silence. Please join us with that. In that, after that, Councilmember Stewart will lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Moment of silence, please. Thank you.
Please rise.
Say with liver and onions.
Thank you. Next item is recognition of employees. We've had 2 promotions within our police department, so would invite Chief Park up to introduce our new lieutenant and our new sergeant.
Thank you, Mayor. This young man has a stylish, yes, with the stylish hair is Lieutenant Randy Thomason. He's got, how many years? I got to put my glasses on. 23 years of experience with the police department. He began his career here. He's held detectives, K-9, and he's been a sergeant for 8 years. So he's now part of administration. And this young man right here, who needs to change his hairstyle, is Robert Guillen. He's got 18 years of experience. He's worked in detectives. He's worked narcotics. He's been a school resource officer. So he's been doing a great job for us as well. He has 18 years of experience. So he is the new sergeant. Randy is the equivalent of the new assistant chief.
Awesome. Congratulations. You doing a picture? Sorry, I want my fire shirt. Chief asked
me for fire
They had a really extensive interview project and testing, or interviews and testing to get to that point. So congratulations to those 2. That's awesome. Next, public comment. Anybody like to address the mayor, council? I'll give you 3 minutes to tell us what's on your mind. Just give us your name and tell us what you got. I'm going to put the timer on for you.
Come on. Don't start yet. Brian Bernard, 5604 South Fox Chase Drive. We were here a couple weeks ago talking about the Fox Chase Park. In the interim, I did a grandma request because I knew the council had revisited and visited and revisited this issue years and years ago and multiple times. Found a few interesting things. From May 1, 2007 City Council meeting minutes, City Manager, and I'm quoting from them, City Manager Darrington informed council members, residents of the Fox Chase subdivision, were interested in taking the property back that had been set aside for a park and trail system. A resolution and quitclaim deed would be prepared for them. Mayor Garwood recommended the city ask for a formal letter from the residents requesting the land. Why wasn't it quitclaim deed back? If that had happened, we wouldn't even be here today, because we in Fox Chase are taken care of. We've improved the park, we've created it, and we're taking care of it. Fast forward another decade to May and August of 2016. Councilmember Straight at that time brought it forward when Mayor Porter and I were also on the council, and brought to attention that, one, that park area was a public safety hazard, and that the city needed to make right what happened in the area. We didn't. We as a council then decided we didn't have the funds and the money to do anything. And so what happened was that park continued to be an eyesore, continued to be neglected, continued to grow weeds and be a fire hazard. And we even talk about how the parks needs to get over there and cut back things from the street, because it's now the Russian olives were all over Fox Chase Drive. So at the end of the day, this has been a problem for decades, ever since the city didn't do the right thing, which was release the bond. The city should do the right thing and quitclaim it back to the homeowners now, because they're taking care of it and they're already doing what should be done. The city doesn't care. In fact, I also did a grandma request on parks calls to the park and police calls to the park. No record, because it's being maintained and it's being taken care of by the homeowners. So that tells you right there, there's no need for the city to fence it off and again, not do anything with it. And the fact that a pickleball court has been there for 4 years without anyone at the city even knowing shows you how much the city pays attention to that area. So please do the right thing, quitclaim it back. It's finally a park that's not a fire hazard. The park is only on the park area, not in the wetlands, and it's being taken care of. The city's creating a problem creating a solution where there isn't even a problem. Thank you.
Thank you.
Manning Cypress, 1295 East, 5600 South. Yeah, we were here last meeting. And just to clear up a couple of things, because I went back and listened to the last meeting, there was no wetlands like the structures there, the cement pad and the grass and everything. No wetlands were covered or disturbed. It's all on the edge of wetlands. And I think someone came out and looked at it. I don't even know who it was. It was Jeanette Singleton that told me like 7 years ago. Someone came out and looked at it to make sure what was done wasn't too close to the wetlands. And they said, yeah, it's fine. I don't know who that was. You might have record of it. Yeah, okay, whoever it was. And then last meeting, we weren't totally prepared because I was just told to come do a presentation, something simple, and then I didn't come with pictures or anything, and then everything was thrown on the board. So City Manager Dixon told me to just do a little presentation, ask for a 100-year lease, and called it good. But then you guys were like super prepared, so I didn't think that was very cool. But and you know, I would like to apologize for, you know, kind of superseding the process and starting to improve it before basically asking for permission, because like I say, at the time I thought that it was the HOA's. The HOA is functioning. Any dues that are paid, there are no dues that are required by the state. There's a $90 a year so that you have the ability to lien properties if they're not within the CC&Rs and blah, blah, blah. So that's all current, the $90 thing. Before that, the HOA was still functioning. I know Mr. Ho had a question about that. So it's not just a neighborhood, it is an HOA that is still in good standing, or however you word it. Other than that, I don't really have anything, so thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Manny.
You need eyes in the back of your head. Monique Bernard, 5604 South Fox Chase Drive, and I am on the HOA presidency. And I would like to just reiterate what both of them said. I've lived in my house for 24 years, and in the 24 years, the first 15 of it, until we had someone on city council who could help us fight to get somebody down there to clean up trails and such. And when they did, they were people from jail that they'd bring out to do that. So, you know, they weren't all city employees. There was somebody watching them do it. But after that, we've done it ourselves. Kim Fowles, who lives on the other side of 5600, she's maintained her trail the entire time she's lived there. The city hasn't done anything because that's part of the wetlands. Also, Chris Johnson, who is another member of the presidency of the HOA, is out of town, or he would be here tonight. But we've all spoken, and we are mostly upset that the city would come in, put fences, pay people to come and sit and watch for us, for anybody to be on the property, to give trespassing tickets. They're asking other neighbors if anybody's been down there, trying to get people to tell on each other, things like that. And it's just kind of ridiculous because we did think that it was ours to take care of, which we have done for the last 7 years at least that we've had grass down there and nobody ever said anything, and over 4 years with the pickleball court. We have people in our neighborhood who enjoy it. Other people, we've not had problems with destruction, with noise, with anything. And so we're asking that the property be ours to manage and be in charge of and take care of. We won't ask the city to do anything else to help, because even when it was yours completely and we weren't doing anything, nothing got done anyhow. So again, hopefully you'll do the right thing at the next meeting when we're on the agenda. We can have more people here who are in support. I've talked to, I don't know if half of the neighborhood, because it's changed so much, but I haven't spoken to anyone who has been against or not wanting that park there. We've had a lot of people upset, asking us, calling us, why is that fenced? Why can't we use it? Why can't our kids go down there and play basketball? So for what it's worth, there are a lot of upset people that we can't use it. So hopefully we can get that taken care of.
Thanks, Mike.
Tim Drake, 1325 East, 5640 South, also in Fox Chase. Just want to reiterate what has already been said, that we enjoy that area. It's been cleaned up. It's really nice, much better than it was before. When we first moved in, we were told that there was a trail system, but when we would walk it, it wasn't walkable, especially in that area. My son helped in the cleanup process. And as far as, I guess I just don't know why a fence is up, if it's dangerous or anything else. We've had, since it's been improved upon, we've had the largest snowstorms that the area has seen. Just the last couple of weeks, we've had huge water days where there's been floods in other areas. There hasn't been a flood down there, even though it's a wetland. So, you know, the drainage is working properly. Everything's working good. I don't see any danger or why there would be a reason for a fence to be put up. So,
Thank you.
thanks.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Kristen Hall, 1290 East, 5630 South. I actually back the wetlands. This has been a problem since we moved in. We've been there 23 years. And when we went to close on our house, someone else had started building it. They would not let us close on our property until there was access to the trail. That trail was maintained for 2 years. Well, we kind of maintained it for 2 years. Then, since then, they've dug so much. South Ogden City has come in when there's been problems. They've dug, they've dug so deep that we just have a wall behind our house now. We have a fence and then a steep wall. There is no access to a trail. There's no way to do a trail because they've done so much damage. The only time I have them, the only time I ever even hear from them is if the water has backed up, which has probably been, I don't know, 2 or 3 times in the last so many years. A couple of years ago, it was all the way up to our fence. They came, dug it out, and left. The other day, they came, ripped down trees that were not an issue, supposedly on wetlands, which I don't think they're supposed to do. I was one who, back in the day, got signatures to be able to do something back there, and then nothing happened. All I can say is we have a mosquito problem. We have West Nile all the time. Manny's helps to keep that down with the pickleball courts, the grass that he maintains. It's not as wet and soggy. That trail that goes down in for the access was put in by South Ogden City when they tore down all of the trees years back. The mosquito abatement does use that to go down in so that he can spray better because we have such a mosquito problem. We are probably the highest out of anywhere in Weber County, he tells us, because we put a trap there. So that does help with access for them, and it helps with us as a neighborhood to not have so many mosquitoes. Did Manny do it the properly way? Maybe not, but it's better than anything that the city has done for us in the 23 years that I've lived there. So it looks a lot better, and if they rip it out, all it's going to be is more weeds and more moss and more mosquitoes for us to deal with. So I think it's ridiculous to waste the time and the money when something is in place already. So.
Thank you, Kristen. Okay, anybody else? All right, next, response to public comment. I will make all that tonight. We won't have a debate here, but, so, thank you for your input tonight. Thank you for facts and not emotion. We all have a problem with that, council as well as residents generally, so excellent decorum tonight. I'll just address a couple things. So, yeah, the facts are that the city's made mistakes. Building on city property without permission is a mistake. So we have some legal and some risk management dealing with some of that right now and reporting to the city manager, who will report to the council soon. The fence, guys, this is like a moratorium, right? As we're getting information from legal, from risk management, from what's happening, you just stop it. You put a pause on it. So you put a fence up so that we can just keep it right where it's at till we decide which direction we're going to go. So, not an attack on the neighborhood. It was just, in a sense, a moratorium or a stoppage right now, work stoppage and a play stoppage till we can figure that out. So, this is new for the city too. We haven't really had anybody build permanent structures on city property before. So, congratulations, Manny. You're unique. So, yes, mistakes have been made on both sides, and so we will. We'll check some more options, and we'll discuss that as a council, and then get back to you on that. And so, but the fence will stay till that's all decided. So, thank you.
Consideration that if it's turned over to an HOA, then what's there is okay.
Yeah, last meeting we were under the impression there was no active HOA, so that's new information that we will take into consideration. Thank you.
It's never been dissolved or not actual.
That was the impression last meeting. So, okay, thank you for that.
Mayor, is the HOA ineffective then?
Yeah, it always has been.
So you have a president on the board?
Okay,
Okay,
that's good enough.
okay.
Last meeting it was implied that that it wasn't active and it wasn't really
Yeah.
happening. So, okay, that's probably the best way to put it. Thank you. Okay, all right, appreciate that. So, thank you for your input, for the information that we received tonight. I took good notes. Manager Dixon took good notes as well. So, thank you. Next, item 5, our consent agenda. We got a few things here. We got approval of our September 16th council minutes. Any changes, corrections on those? Okay, Councilmember Stewart.
On line 204, there's an error on the time. We just need to make the time match the timestamp.
Okay, thank you. Anything else?
No.
Okay. And then also with, we did this last year with Councilmember Stephen's suggestion. We oh boy, I'm going to end up getting locked out of here because I can't type in my password. I was going to read part of that proclamation to you first. Should be right there. So this proclamation that we're going to declare October, well, let me just read a couple things. As Weber State has been I'll summarize. Weber State's very important to this area, to South Ogden. A lot of us graduate from there. It's one of our bigger employees in the city. A lot of us have degrees and schooling from there. A lot of music and sports and the plays and things. So Weber State is very important to us, not in our city, but due to proximity is super important. So we do have a declaration. Therefore, the South Ogden City Council, Mayor Russell L. Porter, hereby proclaim October 3rd through 11th, 2025 as Weber State University Homecoming Week. And so I appreciate Weber State, what they do for us, and Alumni Association President is present today. And so we'll make that declaration. So that's part of the consent agenda. And thirdly, approval of a Class C beer license for Steiny's Family Sports Grill. So Steiny's was located up here in the Flying J building. They are now going to move into the Windy Sukiyaki building. And if you've ever been to Steiny's, it's a great place to catch a game and get sandwiches and fries and everything else. And so John Stein and Joey Stein are here today, the owners of that. Go way back to baseball days when we were all younger. So that's what we're doing there on item C. Okay. Any questions for we? Okay, entertain motion to approve the 3 items on the consent agenda with the change to line 204, the stamp time error.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, excellent. All right, our first discussion, action items, consideration of resolution 25-30, approving a franchise agreement with Comcast. Mr. Dixon.
Thank you, Mayor. As we mentioned in the work session, these franchise agreements typically run 10 years, and that's the case with this one. The Comcast franchise agreement with the city expires this month, I believe. Maybe it's next month. And so been working with Comcast's team and just reviewing it. You'll note it's pretty much the same agreement that we approve every year with different franchisees, and it's a 10-year franchise agreement. Establishes the same 5% fee on gross revenues. For the general public, this is essentially these service providers are essentially renting the right-of-way from the city. So they have the right to put their infrastructure in our streets and in our park strips. In return, a franchise agreement requires a 5% of their gross revenues that come back to the city. And so those are the kinds of services that are important to the community. Everybody wants connectivity, cable, internet, and so that's what this is, and happy to answer any questions if there are any.
Questions for Mr. Dixon? Is that a yes? Okay. Entertain a motion to approve resolution 25-30.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. It's a roll call vote. Councilmember Stewart?
Yes.
Councilmember Smythe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Howe? Yes. Excellent. Item B, consideration of resolution 25-31, approving agreement with Wasatch Constables for Justice Court Bailiff and Constable Services. Chief Park, please.
Thank you, Mayor. It is time to renew our contract for constable service, which is basically the court bailiffs in our city. We used to fill this in years ago with police officers, but the expense and the time taken off of an officer's normal duties made it cost prohibitive to continue doing so. So we contracted originally with this group back in 2019, and what's before you tonight is to renew that contract.
Questions for Chief on the contract? Councilmember Stevens?
Do we receive any funds to cover some of the expenses of the constable, or is that out of the budget of the city?
That's out of the budget of the city.
Okay, so we don't receive any additional funds?
No.
Okay.
I mean, we do,
You receive court
We'll
costs,
receive court costs and fees, which-
fines of that nature, but nothing specific to the bailiffs.
Now, when he transports prisoners, that's our cost on that, or?
That's very rare that
Okay.
occurs. There would be a cost associated with that according to the contract, but most often, it's our own officers that would be doing transports. If it's extraditions and things like that, then our officers are doing those.
Okay.
okay. Entertain a motion to approve Resolution 25-31.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? This too is a roll call vote. Councilmember Howe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Smythe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart?
Yes.
Excellent. Chief, you left too soon. Item C, consideration of Resolution 25-32, appointing Matt Jennings as the South Ogden City Constable.
So there is an organization that is the constable service, and then you have to pass by resolution proceeded by the recommendation of the chief that this individual will be the constable of that organization, and he will provide the bailiffs for our court. So there's basically 3 steps. I make a recommendation for the appointment of a constable. The council approves that through a resolution, and then you approve the contract with Wasatch Constables, who is the business who employs all these folks.
Makes sense. Councilmember Stewart?
So if that person was to change employment, then we would have to do a whole nother,
We would have to find another constable.
and we'd have to have a whole nother resolution and agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Don't leave. Just kidding. Good question. Anything else? Okay. You pleased, Chief? You pleased with these
I'm
things?
good.
How our constables are going?
Yep, I just
Okay.
don't want to sit it down too soon.
No, I don't want you to. Very good. All right, entertain a motion we approve Resolution 25-32.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any further discussion? Okay, roll call vote. Councilmember Stevens?
Yes.
Councilmember Smythe?
Yes.
Councilmember Stewart?
Yes.
Councilmember Howe?
Yes.
Thank you, Chief. Now you can, now you're excused. Our discussion item 7, possible development moratorium in small area plan zones. Alaka, our planner, please.
Okay.
Matt, did you want to give a speech? Sorry, I didn't, okay.
Oh, sorry.
I forgot to ask him if he wanted to.
You still can.
Okay.
Okay, so this discussion is stemming from the last city council. Oh, looks like I lost connection. Technical difficulties,
Put
I
that in
guess.
the budget. We gotta fix this room.
Okay, maybe we'll just leave it like that. Not mess with it too much. But this conversation stemming from the last city council meeting where staff presented site plans that have been turned in, full applications, and potential concept plans. And towards the end of that discussion, staff brought up the idea that administrative staff was discussing about a moratorium, or also known as a temporary land use regulation. So I wanted to go through what that is, and then just different things to consider. So the most a moratorium could be is 180 days. And there's 3 different things to consider. It's adopted if the local government finds that there is compelling public interest, and that means substantial risk to the public's health, safety, or welfare that should be addressed, that justifies the temporary regulation. It could be something like safety or looking at infrastructure, things like that. Address an area that is unregulated, or it could be a proposed highway corridor that's being studied. Let's see. It must include the justification for the temporary regulation, the area it affects, and the effective dates. And then once the time limit expires, if there is no new regulation, then it reverts back to what was in place before. And then I did reach out to our legal counsel about if there's a limit on how many moratoriums per year or anything like that. There's nothing in state code that
says that there is a specific limit, or if there has to be specific days in between each moratorium. So we can have more than one in a calendar year. But something to consider is, but any complete application that was submitted during the previous moratorium would need to be approved when the second one starts. So if we have a moratorium for 180 days, and if we have 2 applications that were submitted in that time, once that 6 months or the 180 days are done, we must approve those applications, if they're completed applications, going into the next one.
What was it like the timeline is for this small area plan to start and be finished?
So typically around a year. So we had a few entries. The review staff decided that we needed more information on that. So we should be getting some more back this week and reviewing them again. So hopefully soon we'll pick a consultant to go with. And then from there it would be about a year, just to give some wiggle room there. So that is one of the things to consider, right? Do we wait for the small area plan, right? Do we let this year pass and then revisit this next year, right? Because 6 months would be in June. Or it could be in May or in April, depending on when we do pass that. Do we need more legal counsel on this? Do we need to call up one of our attorneys to ask more in-depth questions about how this works out? And then how long are we thinking? Do we go with the 3 months, the 90 days, or the 6 months, which is the 180 days? Should we explore the possibility of more than one? And then what areas or zones, right? Is it just the city center that we're concerned about, or is it, Gateway Core or any other zone within our form-based code? And is it only certain uses, right? Are we saying, hey, let's pause on residential for a minute but still let commercial come in, or pause everything for however long we decide on the moratorium? So things to consider.
Are there applications right now that we've paused or that know that we're considering this, or?
No.
So this wasn't originated by a plan that we didn't like that came into the city, correct?
Not to my knowledge, no. No, this is just something to consider.
Because that would be bad.
Yeah.
So what if we start a moratorium and then we change the parameters,
Mhm.
but an application that's completed is
Mhm.
submitted in that time?
Mm-hmm.
I guess I'm not sure when you say that it has to be approved before a second moratorium.
Yeah, and that's just if nothing gets passed in that time.
If nothing changes.
Right, yeah.
Then it would have to be approved.
Right.
But if something changed,
Then it's no longer,
then their application is no longer considered complete?
yeah, or in compliance with the zone.
Did you say, Alika, that does it run calendar year, or is it a rolling 12 months?
No, there's nothing in state code that
There
says.
is nothing.
There's nothing, no.
6 months from when we started.
6 months is the longest you could do it.
For one moratorium, but if we want to
Then you
start a
could
second one.
another one, other than if you don't make any changes.
Right.
Okay.
Right, so if at the end of that 6 months, nothing has been adopted by council, then whatever was turned in that 6 months, we have to approve, if it's a completed application. But if something has been passed, then they would have to comply with whatever the new parameters are, whatever the new ordinance is.
So they can still submit an application pending the end of the moratorium, and if we haven't made any changes at that 6 month mark from whatever the inception date was,
Yeah,
that's automatically approved, assuming it meets
right. Right.
code, right?
Mhm.
But even if there's applications in, we can renew the moratorium.
Well, not, we'll start
or
a new one. Yeah,
Start a new one. And again, that maxes out at 6 months as well, right?
yes. Yes. There's no extensions. The only, I guess, scenario that would qualify for an extension if is for the proposed highway corridor, like our study that's being conducted. That's kind of out of the city's hands at that point. But yeah, it would be 2 separate moratoriums.
I would hate to do one citywide, but I think definitely where we're planning on doing that small area plan, I think it'd be nice to put a hold on that until we get that plan done, but
So
I
by
don't know how
zone-
much bigger I would go than that.
So by zones, you're talking like city center core.
Yeah,
40th
whatever's
Street
in
General.
the small area plan, isn't that city center and? 40th
City
Street?
center core, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so, and if you don't.
But it can go
if that's too
beyond
much,
that.
then we could at least restrict residential in that area for now.
What about limiting it to commercial or
Residential.
mixed use? Like, how would you
I would just ban resident, or no
ban residents? We should ban residents.
Well,
That's-
but a moratorium on residential in that area, because we're trying to do the whole area as one big plan in a sense.
Yeah, so you're just thinking city center core. What about city center general?
I have to see the map, probably that one too.
It's right outside of that.
Yeah.
If you recall,
So-
one of the site plans that I showed last time was the corner of 36th Street and Washington, which would be city center general. So it would be anything in that too.
Mayor,
Yes,
I
please.
think the question was, any of the zones within the study area of the small area plan,
Yeah.
right?
Mm-hmm.
So
Or both
wherever
in that
the,
area. I can't remember the exact.
whatever the boundaries are of the small area plan,
Right.
we would, so it might cross over a few zones.
Sure.
But I think even in the language of the moratorium, you could be specific, because it might not be all of city center general, or it might
Sure.
not be all, right? It might not be all of one zone, and so I think we'd have to word it appropriately to make sure.
Yeah, we have to be very clear about what the area is. I've seen some that would say all of our form-based code or all of the specific zone, right? But if we're just talking about an area, we just have to be clear about what the parameters are there.
Would we have to resonate it as residential and commercial, or just residential? In
We
our
can do either.
It's
moratorium.
up to you if you want to do both or just the one.
Well, and that was sort of my other question, maybe I didn't ask it. Would this affect those 2 proposals you brought up last meeting?
No,
Okay.
it wouldn't, because they already submitted that application
Okay.
and there is no moratorium in place.
And they're considered complete at this point.
The application, yes.
Mayor?
Yeah.
Could I just, for the sake of any public who listen to this meeting, I don't know if they actually do ever, but just to be clear on what's happening, the city received a grant, a planning grant through Wasatch Front Regional Council. We have our general plan, we've got our different zones, but this is to create a small area plan, and it's really taking a more detailed look at a smaller geographical area than your large citywide general plan. And so we have some grant monies. We're soliciting proposals right now, trying to select a consultant to help. And the idea would be to look at our city center, right? The area that,
Around Big Lot, right?
around the Big
Yeah.
Lot, Savers, 36th to
Yeah.
40th, Washington to Riverdale Road, generally, to get really specific about what's the long-term future of that, what's the densities, what are the uses. So this moratorium, the recommendation that staff administration that I'm making is considering a moratorium to say, let's just put pause on any new development proposals and wait for the planning, because that plan is just not pretty pictures either. I mean, they're good qualified planners, architects, but there's also a financial component where there's a lot of market research and data, so that we're not just creating a wonderful plan that has no potential with the market, right? I mean, we would all, I don't want to say we all, it'd be great to have a small Farmington station, but can the market support that? Are people willing to spend that kind of money here? Well, that's what the data will help us understand, the financial data. So anyway, I just wanted to be clear on kind of what we're doing and why a moratorium might make sense for the city while this planning is coming together, to just put a pause on new development. And again, you could tailor it specific to residential development and/or commercial. You could define it however you'd like.
Yep. Yep. And it can be, next month or next couple months, or say, hey, let's wait and see how the consultant gets started, and when we get to the portion of reviewing our form-based code, maybe at that point we'll put the moratorium. Just something to consider
And that's
there.
why I asked timeline, because,
Yeah. Right.
I mean, you hate to do it now, and then by the time 1A is done, we're not even done with the plan or close to it.
Yeah.
But yet, this plan's not going to work well if someone comes in and puts some right in the middle of it either, so.
Right. That's the gamble there.
So I definitely think it needs to cover the part that the small area plan covers. I don't know if we need to go any bigger than that, but definitely that area, I would say. Just timing, I guess, is the question.
Right. And part of it can be, I think I mentioned that there was someone that was interested in a piece within the city center core. And while speaking to them, said, hey, just consider we're going to start our small area plan. And just by having that conversation, said, okay, then we'll wait and see what comes out of that. And to even be considered as a participant in that small area plan. So, I mean, obviously that's not going to work with everybody, right? If someone's ready to purchase and start designing and start building, then it is what it is. But that's also something we can do. We can let them know about what we're doing, and it be more worth it for them later on.
Is there a time limit on ours when we have to have this small area completed?
No, not right now. No, it's just looking at the timeline on how long it would take once we pick a consultant. But no, we don't
But
really.
if we make a small area plan, are we, so we need to have that done in a year's time or 2 years' time? What's the time element on
Usually it's within a
completion?
year.
The plans for
The
a
plans,
year?
yeah. Yeah, it could be less than a year, but usually it's about a year.
Direction, Mr. Dixon?
Yeah, I guess that's what staff would be curious to find out. If you want us, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to adopt a moratorium next meeting.
Right.
But if you say, yes, we're interested, then we can start working with legal to make sure we're clear on, okay, this is the process, this is what we're going to do, and then you can decide when you want to impose the moratorium at a later date. But if you were of the opinion, like, no, let's not do that, then we won't put any more work into it. So I'm just looking for a, yes, keep going, get things in place, and then we'll decide when we want to consider it.
I think the one concern I have is if we didn't do a moratorium and we talked about development coming in that met guidelines, the way our form-based code is set up already, and putting something in that blows our small area plan out of the water. I mean, we went through the process of getting the grant. I'd like to see the outcome of that before we have a developer come in and put what they want in there versus what our vision is for the city. So
Sure.
my thought is to proceed, not necessarily immediate, but expeditiously, and put it in place as soon as reasonable and makes sense, with talking to our city attorney and that kind of stuff. So I'd like to see that in place because I really want to see the outcome of this small area plan. I think it goes in really well with our general plan and what we have the vision for the city, especially around this city center. So my vote is to move forward, at least proceed.
I agree with that.
I think Jeremy has some wise counsel there. I think if we could get a consultant and our plan in place within the year, then that would tell us what is going to be developed in that area and whether we need a moratorium. I think we do. It's part of the process of developing the small area plan because if we, like Jeremy says, if we have a building in that area that's not conducive to what needs to be projected there, then that's a problem for us in that aspect there. So I think we ought to do is move forward, and I would anticipate that if we could get the small area plan developed within a year's time, that would be to our advantage.
Yeah. So are we thinking about exploring the moratorium after we pick a consultant, which could be within by the next meeting or so? And maybe we'll pick their brain too as to what their thought is on whether or not to have a moratorium now, or if that's something that they've seen when working with other cities.
I don't think it harms us to start the process of moratorium before that's selected.
Okay.
We can always not. Again, you've got some work to do talking to the city attorney and everything. We can choose not to put it in place. But even if we put it in place before the consultant's selected, and if the SAP goes longer than the 6 month, again, we put another one in place until that's completed, if we feel it's going the right direction.
Okay.
But that's my kind
And I think practically, I like the idea of when we onboarded the consultant to help, to say, we want this to move because we only have so much time.
Right, because we have a moratorium in place, and that kind of puts the pressure back on them too.
kind of
I mean,
says,
I know
hey,
we
we
have,
want
with
this
the,
done.
with the grant, it has to be done within a certain time period anyways, but that would give them some motivation to at least give us really
for
good
sure.
direction.
Yeah.
Okay, so small area plan area.
Okay.
Moratorium, proceed forward with that.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next, reports, directions, city manager. And in your report tonight, you don't have to do this tonight, but in the future, Danielle had a great suggestion about, in your report, talk about a South Ogden business or a restaurant or some that you went to as we promote South Ogden businesses. You had a good experience here or there, or you went and ate here, because I had one, I told her, she said, we should do that more. So throw that in tonight if you want, if you can. You don't have to. It's optional. Councilmember Smythe, we'll start with you.
I've just been looking at the Zoom meetings for Utah Transit Authority, and it's interesting to see where they're going and how much money they have to spend to get our transportation system going. It's very interesting to do that. So that's all I have.
Thank you. Councilmember Stevens.
Thanks, Mayor. I have a few things. As you see, I'm not wearing the shirt for the fire department, but I'm wearing the shirt for Weber State. And like the mayor mentioned to us, Weber State has been part of our community for many, many years. In fact, Weber State started January the 7th, 1889. It's been founded 136 years, but it started with 98 students. Today, they have well over 40,000 students with the Davis County and the online. And so they are making an impact. And we want to be part of that organization. We want to be part of how Weber State, the success of Weber State. Because if Weber State's successful, then we will be successful as a community. The other thing is John Anderson gave us a report, and we'll be going into the latter part of this year to file for ramp projects. Most of our ramp projects are to do with parks. The Nature Park is on the list, and the Meadows Park is on the list, and several other parks are on the list. And so you can help South Ogden by writing to the city here in support of our ramp projects. And that will enhance our opportunity to get the funding for these parks. And we all enjoy the parks that we have. The other aspect that I wanted to mention is on Thursday, October 9th, I believe at 5:30, is that right, Mayor?
Yes. You're talking about the fire open house, yes.
Yeah, we'll have a fire open house and they will show you the equipment that our firefighters have and some of the safety aspects of in our homes and also around our community. So that would be worthwhile to attend. I have another suggestion, and I don't know who does this, but I travel regularly on Washington Boulevard or 89, and I've noticed around the entrances such as Crestwood and 89 that the weeds are a little bit high. I would encourage the state road department to come in and cut and trim those down. I think they can also trim them down on 1050 East and also 850 East, so that as the cars come up to that intersection, that they can see both directions. So I would encourage us to make a suggestion to the Department of Transportation to maybe go through and trim the weeds that are along 89 here in South Ogden. And that's all I have.
Thank you. Good suggestions. Councilor Howe.
Thanks, Mayor. Well, speaking of local businesses, I don't know if you've noticed Riverdale Road and the Young Automotive Power Sports down there is getting close to completion. Excited about that. And
Do you have a date yet for the ribbon cutting?
I don't. It got pushed back, I think, about 2 weeks, so it'll probably be towards the end of this month. But super excited about that. Grateful to be taking a business away from Ogden City again, which is always good. Just kidding. And I wanted to mention a couple of things regarding the legislative process and kind of our current state of politics. I had an opportunity to meet with a couple of individuals from the Utah League of Cities and Towns. We talked a lot about their work and how small municipalities, even smaller cities and towns such as South Ogden, have an impact on what they do. And I will tell you that the more conversations that are open, the more dialogue that we have as elected officials, both municipalities, state, federal, the better this process becomes. It's when we stop talking about things that contention arises, and you got to know how to do it too. I've not always been perfect at communicating my feelings, and I tend to have a hot temper. But I'll tell you, there are times when a individual, a resident, or a state legislator will have a conversation with me, and it's changed my mind. So I'm not perfect, but don't stop talking about things. We talk about this redistricting, and that caused some contention with some of the residents in the state of Utah. Governor Cox was on 60 Minutes not too long ago, and he and I have not always agreed on everything, but I'll tell you, he made some really good points about communication and talking, and not letting that break down, not letting it get into the contentious area where you put up walls. So thanks for those that come to our meetings and say something valid, because you do have the opportunity to change some minds. So I appreciate that. That's all I have, Mayor.
Thank you. Councilmember Stewart.
Thanks. Two things. Friday, I went to, I guess it's a convention, anyway, put on by Utah League of Cities and Towns in conjunction with University of Utah. And Dr. Danya Rumori talked about conflict competence. And she just talked about, conflict just is. But the problem becomes when we don't deal with it. She said our culture, our society, hasn't done a good job of educating. How do we better have conversations? How do we better address when we're not on the same page about something? She said just because we're talking doesn't mean we're talking about the right things, right? Sometimes we're having these conversations. She talked about the difference between interests and positions, and she said sometimes, so a lot of what she does is with environmental issues, and she said people will come in sometimes assuming that they are so polar opposites that there's no way that they could come to a solution that would meet some of their needs on both sides. But she said, as you talk, if you're having these conversations and do the hard work, then you can find that there probably are pieces that we agree on and pieces that we can work together on and come up with a better solution. She talked about effective listening and effective framing. It was good. She said it's simple, not easy, and that we just keep practicing. So I think it's something, you keep practicing with your neighbors, with your family, with your coworkers, and we hope we keep talking, like Councilmember Howe said. Keep the conversation going. Becomes a problem when we refuse to have a conversation about it. So that was good. I was glad I was able to attend it. And then I just wondered, I haven't heard anything. Well, I saw a news piece saying that our tax increase had been denied, and I wondered if we're going to have a new budget come next meeting or in the near future. Okay. And that's all for me today.
Thank you. Mr. Dixon.
Thank you. All right, Councilmember Stewart, you had to go there, so let's talk about it. Just kidding. So the city, I don't have the exact numbers in front of me. There were 60-something, perhaps, taxing entities, cities, counties, school districts, and other special service districts who went through the truth in taxation process this year, and that's the process you have to go through if you're going to adjust your property tax rate. State legislature passed a new law this last session. We complied with every requirement but one, and that was during our truth in taxation meeting, we were supposed to either display on the board or hand out to any public who come to the meeting a list of all of the taxing entities in our area that are going through truth in taxation. We were among 30 entities, so it was more than half. I don't got the exact numbers, but more than half of the entities did not comply with every requirement. In the past, according to the state, as we were down at the Utah League Conference, in the past the State Tax Commission would look at that and go, hey, next time around, make sure you guys don't miss this, this, and this. The state legislature this last session passed language that says shall comply and gave the tax commission no discretion or leeway. Does that hurt? Yes. We're certainly going to be just fine. There are a few school districts, I think Alpine, with like tens of millions of dollars of new capital expenses that were going to be funded. They were denied. What does that impact to us? And is Peter still around? He's not here. Okay, so he can't correct my numbers. I want to say our tax increase this year was going to result in about $250,000. If you look at the budget we adopted, we actually budgeted a contribution to fund balance in our general fund transfer. Well, that essentially is a balancing mechanism because we have to approve a balanced budget. So what that means is after we calculated all of our revenues and all of our expenses, we had money left over, if you will. Well, to balance the budget, then you just budget a transfer that says we're going to just send this to our fund balance. So when you net out the new revenue we will not receive from our tax increase with the amount we were going to put into our general fund budget, the net impact to us is $140,000 out of a $19 million budget. And so we're going to be fine. There are some entities, and I will not name them on the record, who are panicking because they had really large tax increases this year, and that's going to impact their personnel salaries and wages adjustments, new fleet vehicles. Like, we're going to be just fine. We feel bad. There's many entities, of course, that are lobbying heavily with the Utah League, the Association of Counties, school districts, but the message we're receiving, we were hoping that we could convince the legislature to hear this during the special session. And the message from the legislators was, no. If you recall, legislature got burned where, because they didn't do all of the notice requirements on a certain thing that was important to them. So they have very little appetite to do anything except consider it in the next general session or the next legislative session. So the message to us and the other entities, the other 60% of the entities, was sorry this year, and let's see if we can get the legislature to help us out next year. So, and I could go on and on and on, but even the training, we have the training materials the tax commission trained on since the legislative session related to truth in taxation, and the very checklist that they provided does not have that, the one we missed. Again, easy to point fingers. Ultimately, we missed it. It's in state statute, so it's on us, and I take responsibility for that. All right. Yes. I thought
Matt?
the pickleball court would get me worked up.
One more question.
Sorry, I've got a question for you on that. I didn't understand from the article, and I am still not clear. So when it says other entities in our area, does that mean in our county? Does that mean any ones that would affect any of our residents?
Yes.
Because part of them might not be in our county. Is that true?
Correct. Yeah, it's a list of other taxing entities in our area. So if a resident comes and says, hey, I want to understand what you're doing to my property taxes, they would also have a list to say, well, here's what the school district's doing. Here's what the mosquito abatement district's doing.
Sewer
Here's
board
what the
and county.
Sewer board, whoever else is going through truth in taxation.
So anybody who would affect our residents, we would have to have that list available to our residents.
So the one resident that came to our hearing, we
Well-
should have handed him a piece of paper.
It was all taxing entities in the county, so we would have to show them what North Ogden is doing, what Roy is doing.
Oh, so it's not just.
So it's not just those affected. I apologize.
Our residents, but any tax
That's so weird. Why does it matter?
So, like Northview Fire, we'd have to, okay. Okay.
Which is weird. It doesn't even affect them. Well, anyway. Anything else, Mr. Dixon?
Sorry, yeah. Attended the Utah League Conference with Mayor Porter and Councilmember Stevens this week. A lot of really good sessions there. Most of my notes were around AI for local government, the impacts that AI is having, and the need for us to be looking at policies and procedures, and, you know, if we're going to allow employees to use it, what are the policies and procedures around its use. And so we will certainly be working on some of those policies and procedures. There's some stuff on data privacy that's come down from the state, and our city recorder, Lisa, has done an amazing job keeping us up to speed on those. And then, no surprise to anyone in this room, housing. So looking at revamping the moderate income housing plans in this legislature, trying to figure out what is actually working and what's not working, and can we streamline it. So a lot to come on housing. Okay, I think that's all, Mayor. And I will not disclose how many times I attend 7-Eleven, Texas Roadhouse, or Maria's Mexican, because I would be embarrassed if you knew.
But you've had good experiences there.
But have great experiences at all those locations.
I forgot I went to Maria's.
And the figure to show it.
Thank you. Yeah, just in staff's defense on that tax thing, like, we've gone through truth and taxation, what, 6, 7 years in a row? Our people know the system. They know exactly what we have to do. We do everything we have to do. We follow the checklist, and then they add this one new thing, so it's a little ridiculous. I also attended the Utility City Town Conference last Wednesday and Thursday. Great main speaker. He's an author, written books about the American Revolution, talked about some leadership lessons that we learned from there, which was really good. Did do the housing part and the AI part. Also went to, one of the sessions was North Ogden Fire, debris from the emergency management people and some of the lessons that they learned that we all can learn from. And it's just really good. It's really good to meet with other cities and other mayors and find out some things they're doing that are good and some things they're struggling with. And I don't usually get to go to this conference because I usually am working, but now that I'm retired, I get to go. So it was really good. I was glad to be there. I went to Tapatio Mexican restaurant here on 38th Street. We're going to do a business spotlight for them. That was excellent. And I have been to Maria's and Costco more times than I should mention, too. Great businesses we have. Tomorrow at Birch Creek Elementary, tomorrow's Walk to School Day event from the health department. So some of our police and some of our fire and the mayor will be at Birch Creek Elementary in the morning to greet the kids as they walk to school. So that's pretty exciting. The open house this Thursday night, it is fire. It is our new fire truck. We'll be there, a new ladder truck, but it's also police vehicles, public works vehicles. So anybody that wants to revisit their Bob the Builder days, or they have young kids, there's nothing better than coming up here to see all the cool trucks and equipment. And I'll be there. I'm in trouble. I'm missing my nephew's wedding reception, but I should be here instead. So priorities. So that'll be fun. That's this Thursday night. And then the official push-in ceremonies, they call it, for the new ladder truck will be on Tuesday, October 21st at 4 p.m. So just before council meeting on the 21st, they'll have a little ceremony, christen the new fire truck. So that's exciting. So appreciate everybody's attendance tonight. We are going to move into a closed executive session. So after that, do we motion for that first and then excuse everybody else? Or do we excuse everybody else and then, okay. So entertain a motion to move into a closed executive session in accordance with 524205(1)C to discuss pending or reasonable imminent litigation.
So moved.
Second.
Motion second, all in favor?
Aye.
Awesome. Okay, everybody, thanks for your attendance. I think we'll just keep city manager and the 5 of us, is that correct?
Yep.
Everybody else can be, and we'll stay here. I wish we had that old room still. We lost that old room. It was very convenient.
As you can tell, Heather, we dedicated a whole room to Parks and Rec.
It's true.
Let's meet in that closet.
This old room that was right here that we used to, because they expanded when
The
they did that
recreation,
office,
we
they
moved,
expanded it
we
into-
moved recreation.
moved rec from the Public Works area.
Yeah, just be sure your mic